So we finally know who's coming to Marvel Rivals in Season 4. Daredevil and Angela. But who exactly is Angela and where did she come from? Also, is PlayStation 4 getting Marvel Rivals this season? Let's talk about it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. I'm here on a beautiful Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. I honestly don't know what today is. You all will have to let me know in the comments. That's what happens when you work from home. You start to lose track of things like the days, but that's just one of the benefits of it. But nonetheless, though, like I was saying in the intro, today we got the little season release trailer. Now, the trailer didn't reveal anything about like what roles they are, you know, any kind of extra stuff. It's just one of those like little cinematic trailers that just kind of lets us know who the two characters are that will be coming and stuff like that. And from looking at the trailer, the first thing we see Angela, and she is just absolutely brolic and like ripped. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that she's a tank, but we don't know that for sure. But just by looking at her design, if she was anything other than a tank, my mind would like literally be blown. I'm not even going to lie to you guys, right? So yeah, it's safe to go ahead and say that, you know, we can assume she's going to be a tank. Daredevil, I don't know what's up with Daredevil. I'm thinking he's going to be DPS, because why would you make Daredevil anything other than a DPS? But people have really had their hopes up that he was going to be a support player, and I don't understand what exactly he's supposed to be healing you with. I think somebody in like the last video said he's just going to heal you with like prayer. Like bro's going to start like, you know, pulling out like the Bible and just praying for you. Either that or it's going to be him just slapping you with alcohol and Band-Aids. You know what I'm saying? So point is that, like I said, most people know who Daredevil is. I think you'd be really hard pressed to find people who don't know who Daredevil is. He's actually become extremely popular, far more popular than he already was with his Netflix show, which is now the Disney show, and his inclusion into the MCU and stuff like that. But Angela, on the other hand, I'm pretty sure the majority of you have no idea who Angela actually is. Now, of course, you got those people that, I got access to Google. Like, yeah, we know that, and that's cool. But let's just be real. But prior to that, you had no idea who she was whatsoever. She's probably one of the, you know, least popular characters in Marvel, honestly. But what's interesting about Angela is that Angela actually is not originally a Marvel character. And that's where the confusion came in with me, because I only know Angela from her original origins, which is actually from Spawn. Now, the thing is with Angela is that she originally first appeared in Spawn issue number 9 back in 1993. And she's been a very integral part of like the Spawn story. Her name Angela, you know, you make it short for an angel. She's basically the antithesis to Spawn. Like you have Spawn, he's from hell. He's, you know, he fights for Malbolgia, which is like their equivalent of like, you know, Satan or whatever. And then you have Angela, and she's basically like the you know, female warrior for heaven, you know, to where they usually fight and take out the hell spawns and stuff like that. And it wasn't until in years later that Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane actually had like a falling out and kind of fighting over the rights of her, because Todd McFarlane is the artist for Spawn, and Neil Gaiman was the one that, I don't know how many different characters he wrote for the Spawn universe, but he definitely wrote Angela. And it kind of basically came down to this situation where it was like, well, who exactly owns the rights to Angela? Is it the person that's drawing drawing her and creating her likeness and stuff like that? Or is it the person that actually writes her and comes up with her whole entire story and origin, which I think kind of is a very interesting topic. Now, the way that it worked legally was that they basically kind of like split the rights off. And I don't know if they did it kind of like how they've done like with Spider-Man, where Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, but they allow Marvel or, you know, the MCU to be able to use him in stories and movies and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how they divvied it up, but the thing is that Neil Gaiman went to go over to Marvel at one point to do a completely different story. I forget which comic it was something random, but when he came over, he actually, you know, released Angela into different comics or whatever the case was, and she was actually very poorly received. I think whatever issue that she was in or whatever comic she was in sold like a handful of copies, and they immediately just got that up out of here because they were like, okay, clearly nobody cares about Angela. But let's just go ahead and talk about Angela in the Marvel Universe and who she is, right? So they say that Angela made her debut in Age of Ultron issue number 10 back in 2013. In the story, the destruction of the time-space continuum literally ripped her from Image Comics into the Marvel Universe. So they just went ahead and went full on with that when they didn't try to make some crazy story or something. They just said, look, we're bringing her over from Image Comics into the Marvel Universe. They marked her transition from a Spawn character into a full-fledged Marvel character. Soon after, Marvel gave Angela a brand new backstory tied deeply to Thor and Asgardian mythology. So when they redid her story, basically what they did is they revealed that she was actually the long lost firstborn daughter of Odin and his wife, making her Thor and Loki's sister. As a baby, she was believed to be as a baby she was believed to have been killed during a war between Asgard and the mysterious 10th realm known as Heaven. And that's Heaven spelt without the A, so it's just Heven. And that's home of the angels. But in truth, she was taken and she was raised by the angels of heaven, growing up to become one of their greatest warriors. When her true identity was revealed, Angela struggled with her loyalties, torn between the Asgardian bloodline and her angelic upbringing, right? So she's a little bit different in the sense that it was kind of a situation where obviously she wasn't around in the beginning, and you know, obviously you have to do that, or you have to rewrite all of Thor and Loki's backstory and stuff like that. Now, talking about her abilities in the comics, says Angela is one of Marvel's most powerful warriors, and her abilities reflect both her Asgardian heritage and her angel training. She has superhuman strength, obviously. I mean, clearly she's brolic as all hell in the in the trailer that we had. Speed and durability compared to Thor, allowing her to battle gods, demons, and cosmic threats. She's got expert combat skills, trained as an angel warrior. She's a master with sword, axes, and virtually every weapon, obviously. And she has flight. Thanks to her angel wings, she can soar through the skies at incredible speeds. And I definitely think that that's just a side note that's definitely going to tie in. I'm really hoping that she's going to have some type of temporary flight ability. I don't think that she'll be like, Ultron or Iron Man constant flight type of level, but I do think that she will have some type of like temporary, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we definitely have characters like that in the game already, right? And I do think that's going to be interesting because we definitely need some type of flying tank in the game. It is getting so irritating when you have to play tank and your DPS and cloak and dagger like supports and stuff like that. They could easily just put pressure on supports, seem to act like they just can't look up or whatever, right? So then we have immortality and longevity. Like most Asgardians, she ages extremely slow. Weapons of heaven. Angela wields blades and ornaments forged by the angels, which are devastating even against divine or magical beings. And then she has stealth and strategy. Beyond brute force, she's a cunning battlefield technician. So now that we have an idea of who Angela is, let's talk about her relevance in Marvel Rivals, right? So like I was saying before, the biggest thing for me is that as a tank player, well, I mean, I flex a lot. I've started my DPS villain arc, but as you can see in this video, somebody took Iron Man, and I was kind of in an Iron Man mood this morning. Plus, one thing we had a tank in the beginning, so I just had to make it. I mean, we have Venom, but we didn't have like a frontline tank, right? So, nonetheless, though, I play tank all the time. I actually enjoy playing tank. So actually, I think all the roles in this game are enjoyable if you allow them to be. Point I'm making is one of the things that I do hate about playing a tank is that the only person you really have an option to do anything with, I mean, they added the ability to be able to jump at flyers as Thing, but I just feel like it's not as reliable as like Emma or even Thor, but they have to be low enough for you to like output enough damage to them, right? If not, they're just kind of like out of a certain range. That's very easy for a flyer to do. Most of them is just take extreme high ground and not really have tanks to really worry about other than the Thing. And even with that, you can kind of like outplay that a little bit if you know what to expect and angles and stuff to take. So I definitely think that we need a flying tank. I've been saying for a while now, like, why don't we have someone like Captain Marvel in the game or something? Because she could just be a 24/7 flying tank, and she can make flyers' lives a living hell like they've been doing for everybody else since the release of the game. So that's just my opinion on that personally. And in regards to team up abilities and stuff, I do think it's interesting because pretty much we'll have the whole family. The only people we'll be missing is like Odin at this point. So I do think that's really interesting, but I definitely can see them adding her to the team up that already kind of exists, like the one with like Thor, Loki, and Hela. Maybe she even has like some very like specific ones. And there were some other team ups that were leaked, but I'm going to kind of wait to see what's up with those because those just kind of seem like people were throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck. So I don't know about that, but I really couldn't see a world where they bring in, the long lost sister of Thor and Loki and don't add her to the family team up ability, right? The other thing too that I wanted to add is that we don't know what the powers or abilities or anything are actually like in the game yet. We haven't seen any gameplay or anything like that yet. The only thing that released today was like I said earlier, the cinematic trailer. Now that's pretty normal for them in regards to like the release schedule. They kind of like to drag this stuff out so that people gradually get more amped instead of releasing everything on the first day. But pretty soon we probably will get a breakdown because we don't even know for certain if she's the one that's coming first. I mean, there's been people who have said it, but I think that that's obviously just an assumption because there's been no official official word from NetEase. And then obviously Daredevil will be to follow, in season 4.5, mid-season update, which will only be a month from the release. And I do believe that they said that we are starting the new season on September 12th. So pretty much every day until the new season comes out, we're going to get a little bit more. Like maybe tomorrow, they'll come out with some kind of official like dev talk or something like that, or the day after, and then we'll kind of see like a little bit of gameplay. They'll be telling us which one is actually coming out first and all of that stuff. So we'll definitely be keeping you updated in regards to what's happening, because we're just as interested here as anybody else in regards to how that stuff is working out and stuff like that. Now, next thing that I want to talk about is this whole PlayStation 4 getting Marvel Rivals. Guys, listen, I'm not trying to put anybody's situation down, but my brother in Christ, okay, how old is the PlayStation 4 at this point? Like what are we doing here? PlayStation 4 can barely handle games that came out 4 years ago. And like, you're telling me that they're trying to bring this to the PlayStation 4? I'm sure you guys at this point have seen the memes of when Strange opens up a portal, what happens if you try to do that on a PS4? I mean, are they trying to sabotage the people that have the PS4s? Like, I feel like PlayStation is in on this. Like, PlayStation said, you know what, listen, just throw it on there, and we know it's going to self-destruct after about 5 seconds of the game loading up. But that'll just force people to come to PS5. And it's really blowing my mind because you're talking about a console that has been outdated for almost a decade now. Like, people are still actually genuinely playing on PS4s and expecting current games to come out on it. That's just blowing my mind. Like, that's really wild to me, but hey, whatever. Now, the thing is too, that's funny is that the reason why people have been saying this for the last couple of weeks, they were saying like that, it's been rumored that they're going to release it on PlayStation 4. I honestly thought that was a joke and that they were just being trolled until I saw the trailer today, and I did see where it said PS4. Now, I didn't see anything about Xbox One. I don't know what's up with that, why the PS4 would be able to handle it, but the Xbox One wouldn't be able to handle it. But that's really none of my business, though. You'd have to take that up with the devs. I still really thought that was interesting, though, and I'm still just trying to figure out exactly why there's somebody out here with a PS4 who's just like, yeah, just living my best life. Unless you just have it just like to have it just for the sake of having it, but having it and thinking that you're supposed to get current games on it, I mean, I guess have fun playing Rivals in 480p. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, man, but I wouldn't trust a PlayStation 4 with Marvel Rivals. I'm just keeping it real with you. I've heard those things. They sound like jet turbines when they're just playing like Roblox or something. God forbid you put anything that's actually remotely graphically demanding or just demanding in any regard on there. So that is what that is. But like I said, I think that's pretty much all I have in regards to this video. There's not really anything else that I feel like needs to be touched on or that's important. I really just kind of wanted to focus on Angela and where she comes from, just because she is a rare kind of type of character where she wasn't a Marvel character to begin with. And like I said, I'm sure that's probably happened at some point in the past, but it is extremely rare. 9 times out of 10, whenever characters are created, under a certain, comic book type or whatever, like Marvel, DC, Image Comics, whatever their respective comic label is, they stay there. It's very rare that an artist creates a character from somewhere and then moves it over to another one. But I would be interested to hear from you all. If you all have any really good examples of times that's happened that we may not be aware of, because maybe it's just a little more hush-hush with it or whatever, I definitely would like to hear that in the comments. And let me know, too, what you all think about Angela. I'm curious to know what people think about her design. I've seen some people going back and forth on Twitter about her design, which to me, if she's a tank, it kind of makes sense. But I saw some other people that were kind of going back and forth over that. Also, what do you guys think about Daredevil? Do you like his design? Are you interested for him to come to the game? Do you think he's going to be a DPS, a support, another tank? I mean, what do you guys think about him? I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think, because a lot of times I'll have my preconceived notions about stuff and just assume that I know everything in regards to a certain thing, and then you guys come in the comment sections and completely blow my minds with your takes and how good and insightful they are. So just let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. I do appreciate you all for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. It's Father Dark, and I'm out.